You can feel it, right? The world of work is going through this massive shift. And right in the middle of all that change, a new, super resilient economic model is starting to take shape. So today, let's talk about the one-person business, not just as some little side gig, but as a seriously thought-out engine for this whole new age of work. It all really starts with this feeling that so many of us have now. That old promise of a stable, lifelong career, well, that's broken. Job security has pretty much vanished because, let's face it, companies today are all about efficiency, not necessarily loyalty. The old deal, where the company took on the risk for you, that's gone, and it's left a lot of us feeling kind of exposed.
And that leads us to the big question, doesn't it? If that old path is gone, what's the new one? How do you build something that isn't just stable, but antifragile? Something that actually gets stronger when things get chaotic? The answer, it turns out, might just be in building a business of one.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around the solution, we first need to look the problem square in the eye. This next part is all about validating that anxiety you might be feeling. Let's break down exactly what has changed in the job market.
This slide just lays it out so clearly. On the one hand, you had the old compact. Your role was what mattered. Loyalty meant something, and the company held the risk. But the new reality, it's a completely different world. Today, your role is fragile, but your skills, those are what can survive anything. And the biggest change of all that systemic risk now lands squarely on your shoulders. It's a whole new game with a whole new set of rules.
So, with the problem clearly defined, let's pivot to the solution. We're going to explore the one-person business not as just a tiny version of a big company, but as something fundamentally different in its very design and its purpose.
And this definition right here is absolutely key. A one-person business is not about you doing every single thing yourself. No way. It's about you being the architect of a value engine. You're the one orchestrating the whole system, using tools, automation, and partnerships to create value, all without getting bogged down by the weight of a traditional company. It's strategic, it's lean, and it is incredibly powerful.
So how does this value engine actually work? Well, you can break it down into 3 core ideas. First up, ownership. This is huge. You own your skill, you own your channel to the world, and you own the final say. Second is execution. You're not the one doing all the manual labor, you're the architect, using tools and collaborators to make it happen. And third, and honestly, this is the secret sauce, decoupling. You build the business so that your effort compounds over time instead of just trading hours for dollars, day in and day out.
Now, it's super important to be clear about what this is not. This is not just another word for freelancing, where you're on a treadmill trading time for money until you burn out. It's not about doing everything by hand, and it's definitely not about staying small because you're afraid to grow. It's about being smart and rejecting wasteful growth for intelligent, powerful leverage.
Okay, this all might sound great in theory, but let's get real for a second. This model is not for everyone. So let's do a little self-assessment so you can figure out if this path really lines up with who you are and where you are in life.
This model can be an absolute game changer for some folks. You got deep expertise that's just being wasted inside some big company? This is for you. If you're neurodiverse and you do your best work when you have autonomy, this is for you. It's an incredible path for creators, for workers displaced by tech, and for anyone who needs a flexible, dignified way to do valuable work.
But let's be totally honest here, it's not a perfect fit for everybody. If you need a manager looking over your shoulder to stay on task, or if you get your self-worth from a constant stream of praise and new job titles, well, the quiet responsibility of this path is going to be tough. And you absolutely have to be willing to learn the basics of business. Your skill alone just isn't enough.
Which brings us to what might be the most critical piece of the puzzle. The tools, the tactics, you can learn all that stuff. But the real foundation for success, it's all internal. It really is all about your mindset.
First off, forget about waiting for motivation to strike. Motivation is fickle, it's unreliable. Think of it like a candle in the wind. Success here is built on self-regulation. That's your lighthouse. It's the discipline to show up and do the important work, day after day, whether you feel like it or not. It's about respecting yourself enough to see your own plans through.
You also have to be willing to play the long game. This isn't about chasing quick gigs for a fast buck. It's about planting a tree. It's about building assets that grow and compound over time. Things like your reputation, the trust of your audience, and your unique intellectual property. Patience isn't just a virtue here, it's a core business strategy. And finally, you have to protect your focus like it's your most valuable possession. Because it is. That means you have to get really, really good at saying no. No to the wrong clients, no to distracting new shiny objects, and no to low-impact work. In a world of endless noise, your focus is everything.
All right, let's just zoom out for a second, because this idea is bigger than just one person's income statement. When you get enough people doing this, this model actually has the power to build a stronger, more inclusive, and way more resilient society.
Think about it. These one-person businesses do so much more than make money. They restore dignity by allowing people to contribute in a meaningful way. They create economic models that are incredibly friendly to neurodiverse folks. They make local communities stronger by keeping talent and money right there. And they can create opportunities for others without trapping them in the old dependent job structure.
And so we'll end with this final question. This path, it's not about escaping work. It's about fully committing to meaningful work. It asks you to become an architect, first of your life, and then of a business designed to serve that life. So the real question isn't whether you can build a business, it's whether you're ready to intentionally design a life that's worth building it for.